excuse me. Excuse me. What in the world are you thinking?
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
What up, y'all? It's KMB, the Sexy Ninja, in the place to be for a Paper Saber Universe, and this is the New World Podcast, brother. And we're going to talk about NXT September 12th, 2023, with Vic Joseph and Booker T on commentary. So the Endeavor deal is official. TKO, the company, the holding company that has WWE and the UFC. Dana White's no longer in charge of the UFC. Vince McMahon doesn't own WWE like he did before. Now it's under this company, TKO. Crazy times, man. What does this mean for WWE? I just saw that they lost one of their financial dudes for WWE. You know, it's crazy, man. And we got so much coming up. They just announced the Royal Rumble is going to be in Tampa Bay, Florida, January 27th, 2024. We got No Mercy coming up September 30th. And we have Fastlane October 7th. And I didn't realize this when I was looking at my wrestling calendar now that I have. Wrestle Dreams October 1st. And I was like, man, 3 weeks back to back of pay-per-views. And I looked again. I was like, oh, big head boy, why are you so stupid? October 30th, then October 1st, same weekend. So double the wrestling again. This time I'm going to be a little bit more prepared now that I know everything. I'm glad I've created my professional wrestling calendar because it helps me and makes me look at it and be like, oh, yeah. We start the show off with the number one contendership for the NXT Championship, Ilya Dragunov versus Wes Lee. Ooh, baby, this was a good one, man. I knew it was going to be a good one, but Ilya Dragunov is going to go and face Carmelo Hayes at No Mercy. I'm pulling for Ilya Dragunov to take the title away, and I think it's time for Carmelo to go up to the main roster. That's just me. After the big win, Carmelo Hayes comes out, you know, and it holds up the championship, and I'm just like, yeah, these two are going to tear down the house. No mercy. Von Wagner aftermath, minor skull fracture. I saw somebody on my on one of my comments on one of the social medias, or I think YouTube channel, was like, why did they black it out? We know what happened. I was like, dramatic effect. That's what it is. It was supposed to make us go, oh, you know, and we know the tricks and bells and whistles of professional wrestling, the hoo-has and, you know, but this is what makes television. Using that aspect of it and when it's fading to black and you're like, oh shit, now I got to tune in next week. What's going to happen? And it sets up this Baron Corbin versus Braun Breaker and No Mercy. Baron Corbin comes out and he's like, yo, the first time I ever seen something so crazy and heinous and blah, 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 blah. And he calls out Braun Breaker and he says, that was awesome. But Braun being Braun, he's like, I don't care. I don't care, man. I don't care, man. Are you me? Anything, man? I'm like, oh, wow. Baron Corbin, just whoop his ass. I've stated this before. I think Braun Breaker is awesome and he has a talent, but his personality of this, it's just like, I'm meaner than evil, man. I'm just like, I don't care. Even with Baron Corbin, this whole thing, I was like, wow, Von Wagner's skull fracture developed Braun Breaker versus Baron Corbin. This whole storyline itself has been very odd. Dominic Mysterio and Carmelo Hayes backstage. Dom's like, yo, you call this the A championship, so I'm holding it, so that makes me an A champion. And Carmelo's like, hey, I meant that in like, when I held the title, it meant something different. You know, this, you know, so it's going to be Dominic Mysterio and Carmelo Hayes next week from what I got from this. And I'm just like, all right, that's going to be a banger of a match. Because they let Dom wrestle in NXT. It's not like in the main roster. He's just always getting his ass kicked or handed to him because that's what the crowd wants. You know, you give the people what they want. Becky's backstage. Kiana James interrupts, you know, and Becky's like, the man's going to be around for a while in NXT. So, and Kiana James is like, whatever. Gulak, Dempsey, Kemp versus Josh Briggs, Brooks Jensen, and Miles Bourne, of course, Gulak, Dempsey, Kemp for the win. Nothing really appealing. Lyra Valkyria versus Dana Brooke, and this whole Dana Brooke, Kalana Jordan, whatever, Lyra for the win. But let's go on to something interesting. The Global Heritage Invitational. Tyler Bate versus Axiom. I'm still confused about the rules of this thing, of points and whatnot. But, it's probably clear as day to me, and I'm just like, I just don't care enough to be like, I want to know the point system of this thing. But Tyler Bate for the win. Great match with Axiom. Metaphor watches on. We got elephant costumes and everything. They're really chalking it up, being very over the top when they watch these things. Because last week it was like an ice palace or something like that. That was pretty cool. Schism package, the fall. The tree is dried up. Where do we go with Schism from here? They brought the Creed brothers back by accident. And mentioning Creed brothers, they had the match next. Creed brothers versus Blade and Inoue. Creed brothers for the win. Nothing but Schism falling is interesting. And I love Schism's music. The group itself is good too. The dyad and everything like that. Like everything they built with this. And I caught Schism midway. I didn't catch the birth of Schism. So, I want to go back and watch how the Schism became and the tree and all this and that. Global Heritage Invitational. The next matchup is Nathan Frazier versus Akira Tozawa. Tozawa had a loss to The Miz the night before, so I was like, come on, Tozawa! But nope, no Tozawa. Nathan Frazier for the win. NXT locker room's looking on this match. Joe Coffey has an interview backstage, and Duke Hudson interrupts. Gallus is behind him and talking about this Heritage Cup. He's like, hey, man, because whoever wins, they're going to face Noam Dar eventually. And I'm thinking at No Mercy is when this will happen, when the point system goes and stuff like that. Wesley backstage, leaving with his, I think, wife or girlfriend. He's leaving, kissing her, like, hey, I cleared my locker. Like, I'm going home. I'm not going to No Mercy, so I'm outsy. And while this is happening, Gigi attacks Blair Davenport. Gigi just, bam, hoodie and all, bam, and so setting up more of that rivalry. I hope these two take this all the way to No Mercy. I think that'd be great. We got, if we're going to have Baron Corbin versus Braun Breaker, Gigi Dolan versus Blair Davenport, Ilya Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes, and whoever faces Noam Dar, we're building. And what's funny is when we started building this card, I was like, damn, and I looked at my calendar. I was like, yeah, it's not that far away. So of course we're building. And now the main event, NXT Women's Championship. I'm seeing rumbles online. I'm seeing people be like, but I'm okay with Becky Lynch becoming the new NXT champion because Tiffany's time has just really hasn't been hitting or clicking, and I don't know. It was falling short and falling flat, like hard. So I think bringing Becky Lynch, her first time winning this championship, is a big moment for her. And, this match was awesome. This match was great. They got the crowd to say, this is awesome. But I'm seeing people like, does Becky really deserve this championship, Bubba? Of course she fucking deserves this championship. She hasn't held this championship. So her winning it, now she can defend it at No Mercy. Maybe a rematch of rematches with Tiffany Stratton, and let Tiffany Stratton go balls to the wall with Becky like she did tonight on NXT at No Mercy. The rematches of rematches, and then have Tiffany beat Becky, and really solidify Tiffany Stratton. If not, let's get Roxanne Perez back in there. Let's get Cora Jade. Let's get some people that I felt like I just fell to the wayside ever since, this championship was abandoned. And then it was claimed again, abandoned, and then claimed, so much. This championship has become a hot potato. And I think now that Becky has it, it'll mean something more. Once somebody beats Becky Lynch for that championship, do we have the rematch at No Mercy? Do we, or do we have somebody else go up against Becky Lynch? Time will tell up to No Mercy. In the next few weeks, we got to build to that pay-per-view, to that show. So I think Becky Lynch winning the NXT Championship, 1, for the first time. 2, it makes it more prestigious when somebody actually beats her for it. So I'm all for this Becky Lynch NXT title run. Plus, two, working with Kiana James and working with other talent, enhancing this talent, and bringing eyes to NXT itself. Because that's what this is. You got Dirty Dom down there. You got the Judgment Day popping in and out. You got all these things. Now you got Becky Lynch, the man. It's going to work. I feel it's going to work. And we just got to thank Mr. Shawn Michaels himself. I'm just a sexy boy. Do, do, do. He's the boss. Do, do, do. Or, and that's another thing with this whole TKO thing now. Like, are heads going to roll? Are people going to be moved around? Is that's what's going to happen? Because, yeah, and I saw a thing that says, like, Shane McMahon was brought back in any form of capacity in, like, a role of leadership or whatnot. Triple H is like, I'm out. So the company now is under this banner, TKO, UFC, WWE. I never thought I would see the day. And I don't want to see any crossovers. That's going to happen. There's going to be like, oh, UFC balls in the crowd at the Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. It's going to be like, yeah, I knew this was coming. But we shall see. I still have faith. They're going to hopefully be smart and keep Triple H where he's at. Keep Shawn Michaels where he's at. Because we are on the level of awesomeness right now with WWE. Like, it's booming, it's popping. We're building up to WrestleMania 40. I don't want to go back to the dark days of just really shit pay-per-views and whatnot. And what's funny? I was thinking about it with shit pay-per-views. You remember when they were trying to be like, oh, we have a Raw pay-per-view and a SmackDown pay-per-view, 2 pay-per-views a month. And I was like, man, that's still a lot. And then you still had NXT in there when the black and gold brand was really rocking. I think it's rocking now. I think NXT is not going to be ever up to that level of the black and gold label, back in the day. But I feel like it's up there. It's getting up there. And having Becky Lynch as the champion right now, I think solidifies that. So, all right, y'all. Tell me what you thought of the show. Drop those comments below. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. Share it with your grandma. Share it with the mom down at Walmart. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/New World Podcast. Get yourself that sweet NWP logo created by Penta X. And that's it. That's all. And remember that the New World Podcast is for life, brother.
Back to her feet. Snap. Grab. Drop. Manhandle slam. Cover.
No. Oh, whoa.
She's done it.